Hello everybody, how are you today? Hope you're fine. Today we are going to start a new lesson about the matter. Okay, so in the beginning of the lesson, I want to know what is the meaning of matter. So the meaning of matter is everything around you, everything you feel, everything you breathe, everything you touch, everything around you is made of something, we call it matter. Okay, when I call something is matter because it has mass, which means when I put it on the balance, it's going to give me a value. So it has a mass, and we are going to know more about the mass. And also it takes up space. If I put it on the empty table and then just put it anything like the book, the mobile, so it will take a space. It will takes up a space. Okay, so when I call something matter, it means that it takes a space and has a mass. When you mix a cornstarch and water, you get a thick, gooey substance and you can see and touch it. It takes up space in the container like many things. This substance is matter. So matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. So it has a mass and takes up a space. So if I put it on the scale or a balance, so it will give me a value. So it has a mass and takes up space or has a volume. Most things are made of matter. The air you breathe and the book you are reading are made of matter. Light and heat are not matter. So we said everything around us except the light and heat. The light and heat, they are not a kind of matter, but they are kind of energy. However, they do not take up space. Okay, so light and heat are not matter. However, one way to describe the matter is by properties, and a property is characteristic that you can observe, like the color, the shape, the size, and some properties of matter. Okay, so they are at it. So the property, I call the property, is something you can observe by using your five senses, or maybe the color, the shape, the size, and some properties of matter. Matter has mass. One very important property of matter is a mass. So the mass is the amount of matter making up the object. Okay, so if we have here like a pencil, okay, so a pencil is made of wood, right? So it's made of wood. So the amount of wood in the pencil, I call it matter, or I call it mass of the matter. Okay, so the amount of matter making up the object. So the amount of wood of the object is equal its mass. So the mass is often measuring in the unit of gram and kilogram. To measure the mass, we use a balance. So the balance, something like it has two sides. The heavier one will go down, but the lighter one will go up. Okay. So matter has also a volume. Another property of matter is a volume. So volume is how much space that the object takes up. Okay, so the space that the object takes up. So how much space an object takes up, we measure the volume by counting the number of cubes that are fit in an object. Okay, we also measure the volume with the tools like graduated cylinder. Okay, so again, we are measuring or counting the number of cubes that can fit in the object. So we have the object here and we can just counting the number of cubes that fell in the object. Some properties are unseen. Properties that cannot be seen can still be measured. Take a mechanism, for example, this is ability of matter to attract a certain method. So there are different properties that we can find in the matter, but this property we cannot see it with our eyes. So what we can do, we just observe it and we just feel it, there, okay? How if I have the magnet and I get it approach the something metal, so it's going to be attracted. So this means this is kind of magnetism, which is a different property. Another unseen property is ability of matter to dissolve in a liquid. When a substance dissolves, it blends in and seems to disappear. Sugar and salt will dissolve in the water and sand will not. Also, another property we cannot see it. That is the ability of dissolving some of matters in the water, like the sugar and salt, and the sand cannot be dissolved in the water. Useful properties. Properties help people choose the right kinds of matter for different jobs. When strength is needed, iron is a good choice. Okay, so if we know that if the metal is strong or no, we just know when I'm going to use it. So if I want something hard, so I'm going to choose the iron. So wood is better when you need a light material that can be easily shaped. If I want something it easily be shaped and light, so I'm going to choose the wood. Buoyancy, it's like the property that help you to build a boat. Is word force of a liquid or a gas. All the objects are buoyant, and some objects are so buoyant that can float. Okay, so when we talk about buoyancy, when I'm telling you something's going to float and something's going to sink. Okay, so if I put like a wood in like a basin of water, so I can find that the wood can float because it's like, I do not say it's light and heavier, but it's something related to like a concept we will study this later, like that density. Okay, but the heavy things going to stay on the bottom. Then we will move on to the states of matter. So we have a different forms and different state of matter. So matter is found in many forms, and we call these forms states. Like a solid and liquid and gas. They are the main three types and three states of matter. Okay, we have solid, liquid, and gas. So let's observe the different state of matter. So a solid has a definite shape and it takes a definite volume or definite space. The particles of matter in a solid are packaged together tightly. They are very close to each other. If I'm talking about the matter, so the matter consists of something smaller than this, so I call it particles or molecules, and they are very completely packaged and packaged tightly. They are very close to each other, and often particles are packaged in a regular pattern. And this text box and your desk are solid, and what other solid can be named. So again, so a solid, has a definite shape and definite volume, which means if I have like a pole here and I just put a pole in a different container, okay, if I pull here the pole here once and here once, so their volume will be the same. It will not change, and also its shape will be the same, will not be changed. Okay, if I'm talking about the things that made this matter, so it will be the particles, and they are packaging together. They are just holding the hands of the other particles, so they cannot move. Okay. So what other solid can you name? So you can mention anything you see solid. We said we have a text box and the pen. Maybe we can say the pencil case, the bed, the table, the bottle, the cone. All of them, they are solid. Liquid, orange juice is a liquid, and like solid, a liquid doesn't have a definite shape. It takes a shape of its container. Okay, so if we have a different, how we can tell that the liquid, they are changing their shape. Okay, so we have here a different shape of the container. Okay, so after we just put the liquid in a different shapes of the bottles, so they will change its shape. But in case of different volume, in case of they have like a same volume, so we have here 2 liter, and here 2 liter, and here 2 liter. So they have a different shape, but in case of their volume, they will be the same. Okay. Consider a glass of juice. The juice has the same volume, whether it is in glass or graduated cylinder. If a juice is spilled, it will spread out and its volume stay the same. So again, Let's read it again. Consider a glass with juice, and the juice has the same volume, whether it is in a glass or graduated cylinder. Okay, whatever I'm changing the container, so their volume will be the same. If the juice spill, it will spread out and its volume stay the same. Okay. In a liquid, the particles of the matter can move more than they do in a solid. So maybe the particle will be less far away from each other. Okay, they are not completely packaged. They have a distance between the particles. The particles can change a place and slide past on another, and they are further apart than a solid. Water and milk and oil and liquids, they are a different kind of liquids. Okay, can we think of different liquids? Okay, so maybe our hot chocolate that we drink in the cold days, maybe the tea, all of them, they are liquid. The particles will not move. Okay, here let's compare between the particle of the solid part, like an instrumental device. Okay, so as we can see, the particle of them, they are completely and tightly packaged, but here they have a distance between the particles. Okay, what happens to the matter we use? We use a matter all the time, and the food you eat is a matter. Your chair is a matter, and you even breathe air, which is a matter. Some matter, like the air, can be used again and again. Other forms of matter get thrown away too often, and matter become trash. It goes to landfill or ocean. So when we overuse different things, we are just produce and make a production for a different matters. So when you just use it and you wanted to throw it, you're going to move to the landfills and then the ocean. Many people choose to reuse the matter. So if they have something old, they try to just reuse it again and not throw it away and just buy something new. And this is when you see something again, and instead of throwing it away, like an egg carton can be used to plant a seed. So the egg carton can be used to plant a seed. Are there uses for the things you throw away? So maybe you can use like a drawer as a pencil case. Maybe you use try to reuse the things that you wanted to throw away as for something else. So matter can be recycled, which means can be or made into something else, like the cans and papers, plastic. So what else you can recycle? So we can use the matter again instead of making the earth full of waste and pollution. Okay, so let's review the things we talked today. We have everything, all the things around us, we call it matter, and they have mass and volume, and we said it has different properties that we cannot observe it with our eyes and our senses, like magnetism and buoyancy, like when something float and think. There are state of matter like solid and liquid and gas, and they have different physical properties. People use matter in different way, and they can reuse and recycle them more often. I hope this lesson was very clear for you, and inshallah next time we will talk about measurement. See you in the next session. Bye.